All right, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Monday, October 21st. How we doing? Welcome back. Margin, good morning. Trader J, Rusty Ghost, 3D Printer, Dino, Captain, Jams, Ponzi, David, Robert, Closer. Congrats on the Apple calls, Closer. Welcome to the group. Morning, Chef. Morning, David. Morning, everyone. Weekend was good, relaxing. Watched the Giants get crushed. Watched the Mets lose, but I'm proud of the Mets. Dodgers are a good team. Should be an exciting World Series. Giants are absolutely terrible. Why is that light on behind me? Besides that, not much. Just chilled. How about them Giants? Deshunby, not good, man. I've given up hope. I have given up hope. Rangers are doing well, so that's good. But the Giants are a lost cause. That is a lost cause, my friend. The Rangers are killing it, man. Well, the Devils have played 8 games. That's why. Jeez. The Rangers, the only team without a loss? No. Calgary and Winnipeg. And Minnesota. Huh. Any teams that haven't won yet? San Jose, Nashville. Yeah. All right. Hopefully a good year for the Rangers. Commanders, yeah, pretty good, huh? Except, did they lose Daniels? Yankees World Series. I'm excited to watch the Yankees, that's for sure. I'll root for them. I'll take a look, Margin. All right, guys. Just waiting a little bit for some more people to step in. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you had some relaxed time, reset time. Another week here. Not too much going on here. A little bit of downside in the pre-market. Basically just rejecting off that all-time high on the S&P again. Pretty much staying within the same general channel. So really no big market breaking levels. Just sort of more sideways action. I expect this to continue, potentially through some of these big earnings, man. We got some big earnings this week. The earnings season is definitely heating up, and we could start to see sort of a lackluster market. We have earnings, we have the election coming, so I'm sort of just trying to not get too aggressive as we trade in this channel. You know, I've tried a few swing trades over the weekend. They're looking all right. Might have a few losses there, but nothing that I want to get crazy on just yet as we sort of trade within the channel that we're going to talk about. We'll see what happens today. There's some very key levels below. There's some key levels above. It's like it's like a sandwich right now between some major levels on the NASDAQ, about 200 points in this channel that I've been watching. So we'll keep an eye on that. Tesla earnings is probably the biggest earnings of the week. You got Tesla earnings on Wednesday, Boeing on Wednesday as well. And on the economic side, pretty light. So it's a sort of lighter week in terms of earnings and economic. I think next week is where it starts to get really heavy. Next week, you're going to start getting the big boys, I believe. Let me just double check. When's Apple's earnings? Apple's week is usually the big week. Apple's week is, yes, it's next week. So next week is the big week of earnings. The Apples, the Amazons, the Metas, and all those. this is sort of like that warm-up week that we're getting right now. So probably not that much, right, in anticipation of next week's major earnings, right? So this week could be sort of that slower week in anticipation of that next week. Apple, Meta, Amazon's, the big boys reporting next week. So just know that, just a little, that's where my head's at to start this week, and we'll have to sort of adjust as we get it. So let's start it up. Let's get going. 8:05. Thank you guys for being here once again. Press that like button, subscribe. Let's start, as we always do, with the economic calendar, the earnings calendar, and then we'll get into the levels. So like I was saying, the economic calendar, really not much in terms of like major, releases of major economic data. It's more just some FOMC members speaking at this IMF meeting pretty much the entire week. The entire week is IMF. So you have it today. You got some, a decent one to watch out for around 1 o'clock. Kashkari, he has moved the markets before. I've seen it happen. So maybe something to watch here around 1 o'clock. FOMC member Kashkari speaking at that IMF meeting. You have some in the after hours, but I don't really think that's that big of a deal. So today, really just watching that 1 o'clock and seeing if there's anything that goes on there. More FOMC members speaking. Existing home sales, not really too major, I don't think. Really the only events, the only releases this week that, I think have any weight on the market in terms of like an actual data release is unemployment claims, manufacturing PMI, services PMI. That's on Thursday. Besides that, it's a lot of talking heads all week. Maybe a little bit here on the consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. But besides that, yeah, a lot of talking heads. All right. Let's go back to the earnings calendar. Let me pull that up here. Earnings calendar. Zoom on in on this thing. Get a zoomed in look. So today, not much. Tomorrow morning, Verizon, GM, 3M, RTX, Lockheed Martin. Enphase, if you're interested, Seagate, Texas Instruments, Boeing Wednesday morning, Coca-Cola, AT&T, Tesla is the big boy here on Tesla after Wednesday after close, UPS, American Airlines, Southwest, so New York Community Bank, yeah, nothing crazy. Tesla being probably one of the larger ones. Tesla interesting, Boeing sort of interesting with the new CEO, see what's going on over there. Some Dow names sort of reporting over here. 3M, big Dow name. Texas Instruments, maybe a little bit of semiconductor movement because of Texas Instruments here. But, yeah, that's about it. No really major cap, large cap tech. I know Tesla's not large cap tech, but no major, big fancy names besides Tesla, really. And if I go to like Apple, you guys can see right here. This is next week. This is the 31st, 10/31. That's next week. That's Apple. Next week you have Meta, right? That's the same date. Meta. Next week you probably have, Amazon, same thing, right? Google, same thing, right? So all these big tech names all next week, all right? All right. With that said, let's get into the NASDAQ. Let's get into the levels. Here we go. So 30-minute chart on the NASDAQ futures, really what I see here more than anything is just, I'm going to keep this 20,400 on my charts. I'll show you why in a second. But really, it's this, right? This is it. This is your NASDAQ. A little bit of dance up here that failed. A little bit of dance down here that popped back higher. Pretty much what I see, guys, is 530 to 300, and I see nothing but a channel trade pretty much for the last 2 weeks, right? That's pretty much all this is. So a little bit up, a little bit of down. If you're going to trade this market, you want to try to look for this 20,300 demand low around this 20 SMA, possibly for that upside move. If you see this move back higher into that 20,530, it looks like the rejections could come in, right? Rejections here, rejections this weekend, Friday into this early morning session, into the Sunday futures open, right? 20,530, right? Right there, very clear. And then the 20,300 lows. Looks like to me just an overall channel. So do I expect more of the same? Probably, right? I expect more of the same. That's what you got to expect when you're in this channel. You're holding above these previous highs. You're turning those into lows still. That's still very good, right? When you zoom out, this is still a very good, sort of structure higher. Nothing's really breaking. Nothing major is happening to the downside. Looks like to me just sort of more sideways. 20,300 demand looks to be a very key level in my opinion. So I would probably want to see the NASDAQ hold above 20,300 to believe that there is still a short-term upside opportunity. If we do break under that 20,003 and that 20 SMA, that could start to get a little bit sketchy, right? That's where I'd say, okay, yellow flags, right? Double yellows. If you watched F1 this weekend, some double yellows under 20,300. A little bit of a crash on the track. No safety car yet, but something to watch out for, right? 20,300. If we break and hold under that, that's where I think things get a little bit sketchy, right? Because you do at that point are going to move down to 20,200, and a break under 20,200 would definitely be the safety car. That would probably drive us aggressively lower back towards this 19,950. So I think for now to stay, positive, to stay in this channel and to sort of continue this structure, I would want to see that 20 SMA hold strong, and I'd want to see that 20,300 hold strong. Until that happens, I will continue to look for these pullback long ideas. Once that breaks, that might be where I need to hang up those ideas in the short term, right, and just sort of relieve myself from that risk. If we break under 20,003, I think you go to 20,200, and that would be a big test down there. If you do find longs today off 20,300, then I would just be careful, and I'd probably be a profit taker into these highs. I'd also most likely want to be a profit taker, or I'd want to make sure I see what happens at 20,400. This looks like a pretty key level in the short term, the 20,400 spot. Let me show you what happened when we lost this level. So 20,400 has been sort of a middle of the seesaw level, right? We've seen some rejections here. We've seen some pretty key holds here. We've seen holds, right, pushing us higher. And then we tried to hold that this morning around 20,400. And you can see we tried to hold here. We failed it. And that's when this downside came in pre-market today. So if you want to look for that upside to really continue, while I do like this demand low to stay long off of, you probably want to just sort of keep an eye on what's happening at 20,004 and just sort of say, all right, are we getting back above it? Are we reclaiming it? Or are we staying as a rejection below it? That's something I would also watch, okay? If we reclaim 20,400 today, right, after this pre-market downside, if we get back above this 20,400, this probably could give you that follow-through move back to channel highs, right? That's only if you get above 20,400, in my opinion. If you can reclaim 20,400, I'd say the opportunity of channel high retest is probably high. If you can't get back over 20,400, this could just be a lower high building for that move down to 20,300, okay? So watch that 20,004. That's sort of that, middle of the seesaw level there. That's definitely a intraday guide level. 20,300 is the big demand low. 20,500 is the big supply high. And we're just sort of in this channel again, man. That's it. QQQ. Hourly chart. Pretty much the same thing, guys. Same read. It's really just this channel. If I could zoom in, that'd be great. Thank you, TOS. I'd love for me to be able to use the zoom feature. Thank you. Okay. Really, I'm going to delete this for a second. It's really just, once again, I think around this 495.50, which is this high right here, to around this 490. It's about a 5-point range right now on the Qs, in my opinion. Could be like anywhere. It seems to be anywhere between like, let me go ahead and draw this out for you, because you had some lower highs back here, right, around this 494 last week, right? You had some of these lower highs right here, but it looks like I'm going to focus on some of these more recent rejections. So I'm going to focus on these recent rejections right around that 495.50. I'm going to focus on that, make sure I'm not long into that level, right? Make sure I'm a little bit cautious into there today. To the downside, I still like the 490, 489.50 demand. That still looks good to me, right? That's still that channel low. Still very clear structure here. Previous lows. You're still above it, right? So really no concerns on this pullback yet. Nothing has broken, just a little pre-market downside. Pre-market downside here, bringing us lower. This is, and I know this is crazy, right? I know this is a crazy concept to think about. When the market is straight up in the pre-market and we get the gap fills, right? Why, it's the same thing, right? We're down in the pre-market. You could get the gap fill to the upside, okay? Just because you're down pre-market does not mean we're going down all day and the market's tanking, right? Oh, my God, market's over. We're down in the pre-market. Same exact thing as being up in the pre-market. Up in the pre-market, go straight back down, right? Gap fill, straight up, straight down. So we're down here, right? This is no different than, a straight up pre-market. You definitely need to be careful of this sort of holding and reversing and filling the downside gap. The same way it's been filling the upside gap, you could fill the downside gap, right? Same exact thing. So be cautious of that. 49, 490, that's a very big demand below. Could this sort of bounce back in the channel highs? Absolutely. There's nothing stopping that. You are still very much in the structure on the QQQ. If you break under that 490, 49.50, then I think you'll trade back to that 20 SMA around 488, and maybe that's where the Qs need to trade back to, right? Maybe we need to get back to that 20 SMA again. The last time the market bounced, it was right here off the 20 SMA. You might need to bounce back off that 20 SMA again. That's very possible. So something to be aware of. Okay. 495.50, 497 supply highs, 490 lows, 488 lows. Very much a channel trade, very much a nothing move so far today. So be aware of that. Make sure you're cautious, right? You're really just trading in this channel, guys. That's really the moral of the story, is you're in this channel right here. So as long as you're in this channel, I'd say just respect the channel rules, right? Respect the lows, respect the highs, and if you're going to trade it, you probably scalp in this channel. ES, all right, so the S&P 500 futures. I want to point out a few levels here. Let me go to the hourly chart. Actually, you know what? I think I like it better on the 30. Yeah, the 492 level is definitely a little level here. That's sort of that 20,400 on the NASDAQ futures margin. That's that Tuesday, Wednesday high right there. 20,400 on the NASDAQ futures. It looks to be the exact same. So see this right here? 20,400. That's that Wednesday high. That's around 492 on the QQQ right there. So same thing. All right. ES. So a little bit of caution here. What I'd like to see, or what you'd probably want to see, is a reclaim. It looks to be around the 58.93. Okay? 58.93 looks to be, and I've been sort of manipulating this level a little bit because I haven't been able to get it to be exact, right? It's been sort of like the 90 to 95, right? It's not exactly at a level, but right now it looks like the 93 is giving me the best read, right? We can see 58.93 is the exact high here. 58.93 is the exact high here. 58.93 is not the exact low here, but it's around where the body of those candles close, 58.93. That's the same thing here, right? That's the same thing here, and that's the exact same thing here on Friday. So look at how many reactions we have at 58.93. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This morning, 8, right? 8 times in like 5 days, we have reacted off this 58.93 level. Even in the pre-market here, you can see that pop off there. And then once we lost it, look at the downside, right? So today, very clearly, I think you need to get above this 58.93 level to look to see if there's a long here on the S&P 500. If you can get back above this level and reclaim it, that would be the long that you can look for today, okay? If you can get back above that 58.93, if you can reclaim this level today, get back above these lows, right? Sort of get that move back above and reclaim, that would be positive for the bulls today, okay? Maybe for a move back into that all-time high. That all-time high, however, and make sure you're aware of it, is looking very sturdy up there, right? Look at all these failures at the all-time high. Very sturdy level up there, 59.18. So I think early morning today, right, sort of exactly in the morning as we're watching this market open, we're going to be watching what happens at this 58.93. This could be a fantastic level to either fade, right, or get the reclaim trade above, right, or below. I would watch both sides of this move, right? Either the fade under, right, or the reclaim above it. Both trades, I think, are very interesting here this morning at the right around this high, 58.93, 58.93, 93, 93, 93. This looks very intriguing. So, if you do get rejections at 58.93, this might be the move that brings us down. If we do get the 58.93 failure here, this could be the move that brings us down to 58.70. Very, very clear. You could need to retest this 58.70 here. That is this previous low here from Thursday. That is these highs from last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. That is this little shelf right here, right? And possibly if you get that 58.93 rejection, you might need to come back down to that 58.70. That is possible. So I would watch that. Under 58.70, that's where it gets a little bit more weak, but technically the ES is still above that 58.40, which is the big, big retest level. All right, if I go to this daily chart, the retest level, the big level that I think must hold, is still down here at that 58.40, 58.45, right here. So really, even if the ES has some short-term downside here in the short term, as long as you're above this 58.50, 58.40 zone, there's really not much concern for the longer-term picture. Now, if you're stuck in some short-term longs, and you're starting to slide here, yeah, you could feel some pain. But and in terms of the bigger picture on the 4-hour chart, markets are still very bullish as long as you're above this 58.40 area. If this 20 SMA keeps catching up to price action, this could be a very interesting next long opportunity. But, do we need some downside before we see that upside push? Do we need to retest this 58.40 area? Do we need that 20 SMA to catch up to price action? That's very possible. So something to keep in mind. For now, I'm staying, with the idea of the markets being in the bullish scenario, which is still very true in my eyes, as long as you're above this level right here. If you're above that 58.40, 58.45, there's really no reason to think that the market's failing aggressively lower, okay? There's no real breaks of structure. The real big break would be under 40, under that 20. If we start getting that, then yeah, you start to get concerned. That's the safety car coming out. Until then, just maybe some short-term downside to be cautious of off some key levels, right? Maybe be cautious of this 58.93 rejection. If you do get that today, you might get that 58.70. That's very possible. That's something I would be focused on. For now, it looks like the market is starting to try to bounce back higher. We'll have to see if you can get back above that 58.93 today. I think that's key. SPY. So the SPY is holding the exact low it has to hold here. This is 582.30. This is a level I want to talk to you about. This is a big spot here on the SPY ETF. And you can see it is the exact level that's holding as of right now, which I actually sort of like. So right here, these lows back here from Monday of 2 weeks ago. Oh, no, that's Monday of last week. You have these lows at 582.30, which were rejections here, sort of rejections here, right? These lows from Thursday, these lows here from Thursday into Friday, these lows that popped in on Friday, right? You can see this zone between 583 and specifically that's 582.30 is, to me, the must-hold level, right? And you can see this morning it is the exact level that you're trying to base off of. So that is quite interesting. That is still a very interesting long area, without a doubt, right? Just because we pulled back 0.5% off all-time highs does not mean the market is tanking, okay? So this is still very interesting. 582.30, 583. Definitely going to watch this little zone right here to see if something steps up there. Now, if you break that 582.30, I think that would be pretty much like a break of this this low here, which is around that 58. I'll show you right here. 1 second. It's like these lows from this overnight. Right around this 58. It's like this 58.83. See like these lows right here? Right here. If you give up that Thursday, Friday low, which is that low that just stepped in, that would equal the give up of this SPY 582.30, which is these lows that we just talked about. I think if you give that up today, if you do break to new lows here in the pre-market or in the intraday, I think you're probably going to see our 580, right, our 581 level. That's this level right here. That's 581. That would be sort of a full gap fill of that Thursday move, right? So you have that Thursday move that started here at 581. Maybe you still need to come down to that, right? Maybe you still need to come down to that to fill that gap, which would be, once again, right? You can see, which would be, once again, like we talked about, it would be that 5870. So I still think there is some potential out there to see some shorter term downside, right? Maybe towards that 5870. Maybe we need to retest some of these lower levels. The market definitely has shown sort of an inability to get higher through this all-time high triple top. And typically when you start to fail, a triple top like this, an all-time high especially, sometimes you need to just sort of move a little bit lower and pick up some more buyers, right? That's very much a possibility. So be aware of that, right? We might need to move down to that 5870, and we might need to even retest that 5840, but that should not change your larger term picture on this market. That would pretty much just be, some pullbacks. That would be the 581 SPY or possibly that 580 SPY. And of course, and let me go ahead and zoom out on this. If I go to these daily levels, actually one second. There we go. So once again, right, this was sort of that retest we talked about. It was right around that 578, 580 area. 578, 579 area. You can see, I still think as long as this SPY is above these highs, right, this is still a very bullish structure. There's really not much breaking down here. So this is the same as the ES, what we just talked about. Let me go back. That's right here, right? Same exact thing. That 5847. These previous highs into lows right there on the ES. That is the same thing as that right there on the SPY. Look at that. I don't even need to move my lines. See this? ES 5847, ES 5840 area. Same exact thing as the SPY 577. So while we could need some short-term downside here, right, to maybe retest these lows, just because you get that does not mean that this is breaking, right? This could just be another structure, sort of a bigger picture level to be paying attention to down here. Maybe we need to re-see it. Maybe we need to retest it. We shall see. So, just, gotta get all those ideas, in your mind as we approach this market this week. It's very important. Got to sort of understand the bigger picture. Also watch some short-term levels, but be able to keeping larger zoomed out idea as well. We can't get into that tunnel vision trading intraday. All right, IWM. So IWM, very, very big 227 level. It has been for a while. That's a big spot. We've been talking about this supply. We said 227 is tough, and this level has been on my chart since the last time we tested it, which was right back here. This was back in July. So this 227 level, right, is no joke. The last time we tested this level, look at that move. So be careful up here. 227, big spot. Got to be cautious. Interesting little hold here at this Thursday low at 225. That would be very key if it did do that. I'd be sort of shocked, to be honest, if you do get that 225 hold. But, hey, if it does, you might be able to trade right back into 227 here. 227 to 225, it looks like to me. If you break under 225 with strength, I'd say you come back down to 222.60. Mr. Jones, Friday, I don't know if anyone caught this. If you did, congratulations. Friday, I remember saying word for word that the Dow did not fill the morning. So we said this, if you remember. We said the Dow did not fill the Thursday gap up. It pretty much just held up higher the entire day. And Dow may need to fill the gap. That is exactly what the Dow did on Friday. So if you come to the live stream and you were trading the Dow on Friday, congratulations, because it did exactly what we said. It filled the gap down to this very key 43,270 and absolutely ripped higher right off of it. That was beautiful. So the Dow Jones, still very nice, 43,270. That's a must-hold level. You break that, you're probably going to see this downside towards the 43,000 again. You got to hold this level right here, 43,270. Looks like a little bit of games being played here down at this 43. Where's it holding for now? Yeah, 43,000. This looks like an interesting spot right here, 43,370. I'd probably be watching this a little bit. That's this high here. That's these lows. So I'd probably watch that a little bit today on the Dow. Watch this 43,370. That is Wednesday's highs and Thursday's lows. Okay, and let's see what happened on Friday when we reclaimed that level. Yeah, see this? This is how you can This is how I at least get confirmation of these levels, right? Because, look, let me give you a quick example, okay? Let me give you a quick example here of how I look at these levels. Hopefully, this will help you. Pay attention if you're not. Stop zoning off here. Pay attention to the live stream just for 1 minute. This is what I do to sort of confirm levels from a longer-term view to a shorter-term view. This is the 30-minute chart, right? And we can see this rejection right here at 43,370. We can also see Thursday that level held up all day, right? See that? See how this went from a rejection to a 43,370 hold on Thursday? Now, we look at Friday, right? And we see pretty much just straight down, straight up through that level, right? On the larger term time frames. However, I can almost guarantee you that something happened here in the short term to show you that level is valid. And so what I do is I'll go down to that 5-minute chart, right? And we'll go to that level on Friday, and we can most definitely see, right, how this was a very important level on Friday intraday. And I'll actually know I'll go to the 2-minute chart, and I'll probably show it even better. So here on the 2-minute chart, let's go to Friday, and let's look at 43,370. Look at this level on the 2-minute chart. This went from, on Friday, a rejection point into a hold, and when the Dow reclaimed this level on Friday, right, look at the result of that. When the Dow reclaimed 43,370 on Friday, look at the result of the trade. It went from a rejection point to a support, and when it did that intraday Friday, look at the result of that, right? And so that is a reclaim and a hold back above this high and that Thursday low. That is a beautiful reclaiming trade and a continuation move. It may not look cool on that 30-minute, right? You might just say, hey, Desi, I don't get it, right? This just went straight down, straight up. Go ahead and zoom in on that, right? And you can see exactly how that happened on the short-term time frames. It's very clear. Those larger-term levels, they react on the intraday, and it is powerful if you can pay attention to it. All right? That's that. 2,200 people here, 700 likes. Man, I hope YouTube's running some ads. I really do. I really do. I might run one myself. Here we go. At least give me a like for that little explanation right there. That's all I ask. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. You're here for free. Wake up. You're here for free. It costs no money to press the button. Nothing. All right. I'm back. I zoned out myself for a second, reading some ridiculous comments. All right. Here we go. Not in the YouTube chat. Somewhere else. Tesla. Dead zone. Shit zone. Don't touch it zone. Don't trade it zone. Everything bad zone. Still shit. Still nothing. I wouldn't trade it. Earnings on Wednesday after hours. I would not mess around with this. Maybe if you break the lows, you get maybe something, but I can almost guarantee you it gets right back in, right? If we drop, I bet you this pops right back in. I would almost bet. I would put some money on. You know what? I could put some money on it in a trading way. I could trade an iron condor here, which would be a quite interesting trade, right? Set up like a 225 to maybe 215 iron condor. Put like a 10 strike wide condor, something like that. You can probably make some money doing that. I don't think I will because I don't really feel like watching it. But that's probably what I'd expect happens into earnings here on Wednesday after hours. But yeah, I'm not touching Tesla. I'm a Tesla shareholder. I will be forever. And I'll probably look to buy a little bit of shares before the earnings does release. And if it goes down on earnings, I'll buy some more, and I'll be just fine. So, yeah, that's about that. Nvidia. Man, Nvidia is definitely, in my opinion, getting ready for something here, guys. I think Nvidia is starting to get real tight. This is a very interesting trade recently. The chart's getting real tight up here. Let me go ahead and get into an area that I want to show. The first thing I want to show you is the 4-hour chart, and then I'll sort of break this down a little bit more short term. So for now, guys, right, there is zero reason in my mind to think that Nvidia is going to drop if it is. And I know this is much lower, and I know this is going to hurt a lot of people that are long, short term, right? And that's just what it be, right? There is no reason to think Nvidia is dropping if it is above 131, right? And I know that's still 6 points lower, but this is, when you look at this structure from a bigger picture, this is still very bullish, right? 4-hour major highs. Look at how those 4-hour highs are turning into lows, right? That is gorgeous, okay? And so as long as that's happening, this is still 100% in a bullish move on the larger term picture. And if Nvidia is in a bullish move on the larger term picture, I would be very cautious fighting that, okay? I would not fight a stock like Nvidia on a 4-hour, very bullish uptrending move. So while there could be some weakness in the short term when we're trading on the nanosecond chart, and our emotions are everywhere on a nanosecond time frame, right? When you zoom out, this is a very bullish chart in my opinion, as long as it's above 131. If you break back under 131, this is danger in paradise, trouble in paradise. That is what this is. All right, under 131, that is no bueno. That would be a major market shift in my opinion. If you fail back under 131, then the market's probably not looking very good. So this is huge, okay? 131 Nvidia, no doubt, is huge. So that's where I wanted to start, and I want to make sure, because this is what I do, guys. I make sure I understand the bigger picture before I start diving down into these short-term time frames, because I don't want to get wrapped up in, some short-term stuff. Now, the gap fill on Nvidia recently, I think, is around this 136 level. This is this Wednesday sort of after hours high, and then you can see where that gap started here. I still think maybe Nvidia needs to get fully back down to 136 before anything real steps up. You did get down to around 136, 34, which is, I think, close enough to think that that's a gap fill. But maybe, right, maybe Nvidia still needs maybe another 136 tap here to maybe find some more strength at this gap fill. The problem that it looks like we've been having here on Nvidia is the 139 spot, and also it seems as though there's just a lot of selling up at this 140, 139 area, right? A lot of rejections here, a lot of rejections here. So we might need some Nvidia downside in the short term to really get this to fuel back higher, right? You're seeing 139, 139, failures. So a lot of failures up here and something to be cautious of. But I'm just going to continue to watch where this pulls back to. 136, I'd be interested in 135. I'd be interested to see if it goes to 133, right? I'm just going to sort of watch these pullback levels that have been key levels in the past. Sort of right here, you can see that 133. That's a big spot. That was along here. This 135 previous high, that was a very important spot. I'll watch to see what happens there. That 136 gap fill, I'll keep an eye on that, right? So I'm just going to watch to see what happens as we fade back lower, if we do, into some of these very major levels as Nvidia potentially goes lower. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. But until it breaks under this 131, these are all, in my opinion, very good opportunities to watch for on pullbacks. For now, it looks like to me Nvidia needs to hold back above this 137.50 spot. If it can, I think that's very bullish. If it holds this Friday low, if it holds this Thursday low, if you can reclaim this level, I think you will get back up to that 139. But that 139, man, that looks pretty heavy up there. So we got to be careful. Before I get into too deep into semiconductors, I want to go into the SMH, and I want to talk to you why something you want to watch here on the SMH today, okay? SMH, you want to watch this 20 SMA and this 250 gap fill area. I'm not sure whether it's exactly 250 or it could be down towards like this 248, but you can see the SMH gapped up right here and has slowly sort of just retested this gap up, right? So I think this is still very intriguing for a long, right? You have this drop, you have this gap up, and I think maybe you have this sort of slide back lower, back into this 20 SMA, back into this 100 SMA. If you start to see support step up with this gap fill, this could definitely start to move higher again. So I am very intrigued what happens around that 247 again on the SMH. This is a big spot here, and you're back into it. If you break under the 247, if you break under like this Wednesday low, that could get problematic for the semiconductors, okay? That could start to get a little bit problematic. If we start to see fails underneath, I would call it like the 246, 245 area. Let's call it 246 for now. All right, if you start to see fails underneath these Tuesday, Wednesday lows right here, if you start to get that under the 100, under the 20 SMA, that would be the problematic move for semis. That would be the end of the road for semis there for me. So I am very interested in this 246, 247 as you pull back to this 20 and 100 SMA, as you fill this gap up. There's, to me, something that could be looming here. I'm going to be watching it very closely. Now, of course, earnings are next week on some big names, so all this analysis could be thrown out the window based off earnings. So that's the problem that we're sort of running into. All right. AMD, piece of shit, 155. Keep an eye on that level today. If it can reclaim and hold above 155, maybe there's a little bit of life that's still in this name, but as long as AMD is under 162, this is a fade for me all day. So if I see AMD back at 162, I might look to fade that. Broadcom filled the gap this morning, which I actually sort of like. This is one of my top watches today. 177, you had this gap up on Broadcom right here from 177 to 180. Pretty much over the last 2 days, you've just filled that gap, which I think is fantastic. I would watch this 177 on Broadcom today. If Broadcom can sort of break this downtrend off this 177 gap fill, this is quite interesting to me. I would be focused on what happens here. So 177, 20 SMA, and gap fill on Broadcom today. Watch that level. ARM, pretty similar analysis on ARM. You guys can see this is still very much a bullish structure for me on ARM. You have previous highs, you have lows. If ARM can stay above like this 149, 148 area and stay above that 2100 SMA, this I think could still be forming for that next move higher towards that 165 again. Obviously, depending on markets. MU's got to hold, in my opinion, like this 109.63 spot. And I think this is another one that could get interesting as well. It's still not over to me. This is still, in my opinion, sort of a break and retest long entry still setting up. I will be watching this very closely. I'm still in this trade, just for you guys that are not aware. It's either this 109.63 or it could be like this 108.50 spot. I'm sort of watching this entire spot. I don't know exactly which one it's going to be. The reason I'm saying 109.63 and the reason why there's reactions off this level is because it is a gap fill level. So you can see right here, previous highs. This was a gap up, and you gap filled this level both Friday and this morning, and you can see the reactions off of it. So to me, as long as MU is above this 109.63, this is very much still a, sort of long retest, in my opinion. This is still sort of a pullback, back to the gap fill, sort of reload this move, and then see if we can start to curl back higher. I'm definitely going to continue to watch this. If you do break under that 109.63, you might have to come back to around that 108.50, some of these previous highs here, or maybe even back to that 107 and that 200 SMA. Okay? TSM, I think we're going to get our move eventually here, guys. I really am going to keep waiting for that TSM 194. I still think that's the right idea. I would still want to look for longs off that 194 area. If you reject under that 202 today, that could be sort of a failure move back into 194. I'd be watching that. ASML, man, so I don't know if I want to do this. Do I want to do this? Yeah, I'll do it because, I'm not going to be scared of making people butthurt, okay? This is just who I am. I'm always going to be this way. It's just how it has to be. You got to get a kick in the ass sometimes, okay? I wake up this morning, right? I have ASML swing trades, right? This is a trade I took, and it could still be a losing trade, right? There's no doubt about it. I had some ASML swing trades. I want to see it over 717.50. It's a swing trade I took over the weekend. It's something I was interested in, so I put a little bit of the risk on it, right? Down in the pre-market, and I wake up and I see people in my community panicked, right? Oh my God. Oh my God, right? It's over. everything's over. It's done, right? It's over. The game is over, okay? We cannot take trades if that is going to be our reaction to a pre-market move, okay? If you are in a trade and the pre-market move is causing emotion, it's causing a feeling of the end is near, something needs to change in your trading. Something needs to change in your trading. A position that you enter willingly cannot cause this type of emotion. If this type of emotion is brought up from a trade on a beautiful Monday morning where the market's just down a 0.5%, 0.25%, right, and the trade's going against you a little bit, if the emotion is already there, then you're either way over leveraged, you have no idea what you're looking at, something needs to change. So I challenge you, if you're listening to this live stream, I challenge you to figure out how to change that, right? And to just do something different to where if a position goes against you, you are not in full panic mode, okay? We have to stay calm, cool, and collective. No matter if something goes against you, if something stays, if something's in your favor, this is extremely important. And I challenge you to change something in your trading to make sure that a small move against you does not cause some kind of meltdown, okay? Very important, and I apologize to anyone that may get offended by me making this comment, but I think it is a fantastic example, and I will continue to use these use cases from other real-life traders to hopefully help out people at the end of the day, okay? That's what I do. So, ASML, a little bit of downside in the pre-market, but market is not breaking anything key. I'm not worried about what's going on here yet. 717.50 must hold level. Okay, let's continue. Let's go to Apple because I think Apple's a quite interesting area. I would be watching Apple 233 here very closely today. 233 is, you guys know, a very major previous level, and you can see we had this gap up. We had the gap up on Apple. You guys remember this from Friday. We talked about, holy shit, look at that Apple gap up. But holy shit, once again, we're right into all-time highs, and look at the rejection that came in. So today, I would be watching what happens at 233. This is a very key level. I would watch at 233. I'd watch anywhere from 233 to the gap fill spot, which is right around that 232.50, right in there. All right, 232.50. Looks like the gap fills a little bit lower. It looks like it extends down to like 230. It's like 232.30, right in there. Just watch that gap fill. Watch that 233. You guys get the picture. See what happens down in this zone, right? If you start to bounce off this zone, guys, this could get interesting. I'd watch this. Okay. Let's take a quick peek at Netflix. Netflix is just a monster. Netflix just an awesome stock. I've held this thing from 300, I think, is my share average on Netflix, which is just sick. We'll do a little long-term. If you guys want to stick around towards the end, we'll do a little update on the long-term portfolio. But what a monster. Netflix all day, right? All day on Friday, just straight up all day. All-time highs. I mean, really nothing to say here at this point. You're going to either need a pullback to that 236, which I'm not sure if you're going to get, or I'd say you're looking for this pullback right here. 750. Did I say 236? Yeah, definitely not 236. 736 and 753. So 753 possible something. 736 is the real entry. At this point, you're either looking for these pullback longs, right, or you're looking for holds over the highs. That's really it at this point. But I think probably the best entry to look for today would be right here, 753. That would be something to watch, Armin. All right, we'll look at coin. I saw someone ask about coin, and we'll go into that. Let me just keep moving on. Microsoft, I really don't have much for you on Microsoft today. It's got to get above this 250 SMA or it just stays dead. Google, not much. Got to get above this 166 or it stays dead. One that's sort of interesting that I will be watching today, guys, is Amazon. Amazon has been a little sneaky. I think Amazon, we talked about this on Friday. I think Amazon is setting up a very interesting 4-hour chart. This is, to me, a very interesting hold. Look at how strong this 186 level has stepped up as of late, right? This looks like a pretty strong hold. You have these previous rejections here at 186. Look at all these holds at 186. 4-hour chart. Look at those wicks. I think something's brewing here on Amazon, personally. You have like these previous highs here. You have these very clear lows here at 185, 186. It could be anywhere really between like 180. It could be up to like this 186.70 area. Yeah, this whole area here just looks pretty strong, right? Anywhere between 186 and around that 186.70, you have these very major previous highs. And look at all these lows that have stepped in here. So this is very much a trade that I will be watching, okay? And I might even look to take some trades off this 20 SMA today because you're already starting to find some support there, right? This 20 SMA starting to step up. And it was very strong on Friday, very, very strong on Friday. The only problem here is it looks like 191.50. It looks like it's this high right here, around 191.50. This looks like a pretty heavy level. Let me go ahead and extend this to the left. And you can see, right, this 191.50 spot, this might be a little bit of a problem. So we'll zoom into this. See this high right here? Very clear. That is exactly 191.49, okay? And 191.49 is right around where the stall started to come in on Friday, okay? So I don't mind taking the long here, right, down in this zone, trying to trade it back into here and then being cautious at that point whether this rejection comes in or giving it time to break through, right? So I'm definitely going to potentially look for some exposure on Amazon down towards this 20 SMA. Very strong holds on Friday. Strong holds here, strong holds, right? Just, I think, a very resilient stock down in this zone. Something I am watching, without a doubt. Coinbase, and we'll go over Coinbase MicroStrategy real quick because those are two hot boys. Number one, Coinbase pullback longs at 210 is your dream entry today. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to give you dream entries. Dream entry today is 210 break and retest on coin. That would be sexy. MicroStrategy, you're looking for holds right here over this 211, 212 area. If you can hold above this Tuesday high, that would be the key. If you can see this break and hold above, that would be key for more upside. If this fails back below that Tuesday high, you might get your pullback to 200 again, okay? Yeah, for margin, Humana, big drop, and it looks like it's right around this. I would watch this little shelf right here. What is this, 282 margin? It looks like right around this 282, like where that second drop came in. Looks to be somewhere to be cautious of. So 282, be careful there. I'd say watch these previous highs, though, at 270 for a potential hold here, margin. Look at this 270 spot. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. Yeah, I would say you need to now hold above 270 here, margin. So right here, 270, 270. You need this hold right here, 270. Watch that, okay? CrowdStrike. Yeah, CrowdStrike, all about this 200 SMA, 307, big spot. Got to watch that. Looks like the highs are now 314. All right, guys, that's all I got. It's 8:53. I got to head over to the Discord. If you guys want to join, link down below. Look at this, guys. Look at this. This would be very key. 20,400. If that holds right here, that is very key for the bulls here today. QQQ is back over that 492. The ES, is it back over? What the hell happened to my ES levels? Oh, I'm on the daily. That's why. Oh, the ES is right at it. Huh? ES is right at it. So this is huge. This is huge right here. 58.93. Huge, huge, huge as we get off this live stream. So watch this 58.93. All right, guys. I hope you had a good experience here on the live stream today. I hope you had some education, some levels. Press that like button if you could. Help me get to... I might just not even end this stream until we get to 89,000 subs. Can I do that? Can I just leave this going, not talk to you guys? Just wait for it to happen? What do we need? Oh, we need 4. Come on now. 4 people. Give me 4. Cuatro más, por favor. 4 people, man. 4 of you out there. And I'll get to 89,000. 2 more. Dos más. Dos. Uno más. Uno más. All right, we got it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Oh, man, was that hard, huh? Ayúdame. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. 89,000. We're almost there. We got to catch up to Carmine, man. How you guys letting me? How you letting this happen? How are you going to let this happen? We got to catch up to Carmine and tell him I said that. All right? Press that like button, subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.